Continue with Angelo Persichilli, Corriere Canadiense.
Prime Minister, we know that financial institutions have played a big role in the starting of this economic crisis and are playing a big role even in the recovery. They gave too much money to people that didn't deserve at the beginning, and it seems that now there are people that deserve money, and there is a kind of a credit crunch. I know that your government, your Minister of Finance and yourself said that we need some international coordination, some rules in order to avoid that what happened up to now will not happen again in the future. I'm wondering if you pushed this issue during the meetings, and if you did, what was the reaction and what was accomplished?
Okay. I did push that issue very hard, and let me go through the various things I said on that. I think they're all important. And I think there was a fair degree of agreement around them. First of all, it is important that we fix the financial sector. And that means for those countries that have had to intervene in the financial sector, in particular, have had to intervene to bail out banks and financial institutions, it is critical that that intervention be seen through to its conclusion. That means, what I mean by that is the following. It means that toxic assets have to be removed from the balance sheets, the banks and the financial institutions have to be restored to health, and the system of regulation that led to that problem has to be fixed, the national system of regulation. What we cannot have happen, what concerns me, is that we see governments intervening in some countries, giving a great deal of money to banks and financial institutions. Banks and financial institutions do short-term fix to their balance sheets and then say, we want to give the money back to government and now get out of our lives. That is the worst of all worlds, because if we don't see the intervention through to its conclusion, the message we will have sent is actually worse than the message we had before. The only thing worse than a situation of unregulated capitalism that led to massive failure would be a system of unregulated capitalism backed by the unlimited desire of the government to intervene at any point in time to bail people out. You can't have that. The bailout, the situation that led to the bailout has to be fixed. We have to be able to allow institutions that are particularly badly run to fail without having systemic failure. So that's very important. I was very clear on that. We've also been very clear, as you know, Canada co-chaired the international panel on financial regulation. Our view is that all of these national systems of regulation have to be fixed, but there also has to be international coordination. There has to be an international peer review process for national regulations, so there is transparency. There's peer review and peer assessment. We undergo that in Canada. It's been very useful when we have undergone it, and we think all countries need to be part of that. It does not detract from national sovereignty. Nation states are clearly going to exercise their rights to regulate their financial system. But in a globalized economy, we are going to have to take global responsibilities, and there is going to have to be some semblance of global governance on these questions. We can't operate where major financial systems are operating in a manner that is not transparent because it infects the entire global economy. So that problem does have to be fixed. The other thing, if I can add, that has to be fixed around this, and I've said this at previous meetings, is the underlying, I think there was an underlying situation here that led to the massive problems in the financial system. And that wasn't just the poor regulation of the financial system. It was that we have had a system of global imbalances where the American consumer was sustaining global growth on the basis of unsustainable consumption, financed obviously through American financial institutions, but also financed through excessive surpluses, excessive rates of savings in other countries. And that has to be corrected. Countries that have been in massive surplus have to start increasing their domestic demand to sustain global growth. And as President Obama said very forcefully at this summit, very correctly, the American consumer cannot go back to a zero savings rate. That is not realistic, and it is not useful in the long term to the global economy. So all of us have to put our minds together on fixing those global imbalances, as well as the regulation of the financial sector.
We're all going to have to give up a little bit of our sovereignty in order to make the world work.